Sage, and I'm here with another video, this time on One Piece chapter 935, titled Queen. Now, the cover page is some fluff, it's Smoker. I love Smoker, so I'm quite into this. And yeah, we start at the prison. Now, I'm really glad we're starting at the prison and we've not just completely skipped to something else straight away. Like, it's nice that we're seeing the consequences of the cliffhanger of last chapter, because we don't always get that sometimes, especially for some of the more interesting events. And we're introduced to Solitaire, who seems to be like this monkey smile user. She's got multiple arms and multiple swords. She's got 4 swords. The naming theme of the card decks is kind of continuing with that Solitaire name, and I love her design. She's meant to be a vice warden and a headliner. Now, later on in the chapter, we see the Scorpion Zone that Luffy was going to attack, and he's called Daifugo, and he's basically like hit, and he does get back up pretty quickly, so like Weakened Luffy still gets back up. I don't know, I put him above Hold'em is what I'm saying. So like, yeah, she could be like this strong-ish woman, which is kind of cool to see, like women on the Kaido crew that like have responsibilities and like might do their job a little bit. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens with it. And she's talking to this crab who's making like, well, crab smile user, who's making all these crab puns. And once again, we kind of see that smiles are a little bit like, sometimes it's all good, sometimes not so much. Like, the real problem is that he can only move sideways. So that's a bit, you know, if you can only move sideways, that's a bit of a problem. And obviously Raizo's managed to slip past him, has stolen the keys to the handcuffs, and so yeah, the timing did align as I suspected it might. So that's really cool. Luffy, as I said, is attacking Daifugo, and we're kind of reminded of the consequences of talking back to the guards, and then we're kind of told that you would be executed if you were to actually hit one. So, as I say, Daifugo is hit, but he gets back up, so he's probably not like Hold'em or whatever, and he's also a vice warden. Luffy does like make a statement that he's been training in this section as well, so that's like important to remember. Like Luffy says, even if I only get a little bit stronger, I'm going to be stronger when I get out. Now, the Elephant Zone man that we saw last chapter turns out to be the warden, and he's called Old Maid. So again, that naming convention is continuing. Daifugo is also a card game, it's a Japanese one. And yeah, so Headliner seems to be like this vast rank, because the next thing that happens is he uses like Elephant Sneeze or whatever it is, and then he knocks Luffy down, like he sends him like flying. Which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, ain't that uncommon. But, like, Luffy says that he can't use Haki. I guess that's probably to do with the Seastone handcuffs. Yeah, alright. He can't use Haki, so, you know, it's gonna be, like, more effective. But, I think the gist of it is that the headliners are just this really broad range. Like, headliner isn't like a level. It's just basically anyone who's not complete fodder, and like, even then, it's a stretch to say that, because some of them are like Hold'em. So yeah, headliner, that's not like a level or anything like that at all. And it would be ridiculous to say it is, in my opinion. But that's just me. Luffy seems to, as I say, mostly be down because of the Haki thing. But I didn't really realise that Haki you wouldn't be able to use it if you're in SeaStone. Like, I had the assumption that it was mostly to do your devil fruit, but obviously we get confirmation in this chapter that it can also stop somebody from using Haki, which is cool to know, and would explain why, like, SeaStone nails and bullets would be so effective or scary, because essentially, like, a weapon that's made of SeaStone is also, you know, it could have an effect. It's never had an effect before that I saw, but I don't know, this new information, maybe it's because he's in cuffs, like a binding. It's hard to really tell, but it's enough SeaStone, I guess it has to be, and if there's enough, then they can't use Haki as well. So that was kind of interesting. And so yeah, there's this person that says, like, Kya, and there's a little heart, and I'm not sure who that is, but it's probably not Grandpa Hyo. But yeah, Grandpa Hyo, speaking of, is in clear admiration of Luffy, and he would definitely seem to be an ally in the upcoming chapters to me. I can't see him not joining us in some capacity. Like, the way that he's been set up now, like, it really feels like he's gonna be someone that helps us gain allies, someone that helps our cause gain traction. So I'm really excited to see just more of how that's going to go down, really. And yeah, Queen kind of finally arrives, and there's like this song and dance routine, and Queen is very flamboyant. I love all of this. It's kind of funny. He's doing this song and dance about being like great and being like, I'm not fat, I'm muscly, and it's like weird flex, but okay. And yeah, he seems to have this theme of calling people trash, like putting them down, calling them scum. Like, he was doing it with Jack, now he's like doing it with his underlings. And everyone kind of comes to greet Queen and tell him the issues. And the first one, obviously, is that Kid has escaped. The second one is that now the keys are gone. And the third one is Luffy is trying to escape right now. So Queen is obviously, well, catch him then. Like, you can't allow him to escape in any capacity. Come on now. Go do your jobs. To which everyone kind of hurriedly goes to do their jobs. Which is, it's all very funny. There's lots of expressions. I'm enjoying this content, you know, it's good. And then we move to Ebisu Town. Zoro has actually left. Usopp, however, Law, Frankie are talking to, we're going to give it a go, Tonoyasu? Maybe. So he's the smiling village man anyway. He's the dude that Zoro has been like walking around with. And apparently one of Zoro's swords has been stolen. So there's more stalling for Zoro, less Zoro screen time. Because you know that all of this is gonna be like off-screened in some capacity. Like, we didn't even get to see him leave the towns, which is odd to me. Like, you know, there was no time even dedicated. Like, we got told that sword was stolen, kind of thing. So like, how important is it going to be? I don't know. How much off-screen it's going to be? I don't know. It's a bit grey and annoying. But anyway, and Sanji may have gone to the bathhouse, but he's not with them. The bathhouse, however, is unisex, so he wouldn't need to be invisible, and he wasn't shown there, so maybe he's doing something off screen that is important, and that's why they've brought up, oh, where's Sanji? We'll have to see. Again, it's a lot more like telling us things that are happening kind of thing. But as I say, he might be in the bathhouse, so hard to tell. Like, there was a little heart that's off to the side that's not really like necessarily from a person, so it could be that that's like meant to be a hint that he's there. But it could also be that the reason that it's been highlighted that Sanji's gone is because he's off doing something important off screen, and Oda's letting you know that there was some dedicated time where he wasn't seen, so one of them things. And yeah, so Shinobu then goes on to explain about like the traditional Yakuza, because we go back to the bathhouse with Robin and Nami and Shinobu, and they're kind of explaining the Higuro was this dude that had like Yakuza bosses underneath him from other regions, and he was kind to the people, and he was quite popular, and he had a chivalry about him, and it's said that even Odin admired him. So Higuro seems to be someone that isn't just gonna necessarily give us like allies, but is gonna like help us learn more about Wano potentially. Like, he seems to be this amped up character. I'm really interested if there is a relationship between him and Kuromurasaki. I know there probably isn't, but like, to me, we've learnt about these two characters a lot together, and like Kuromurasaki's just disappeared for now while her apparent funeral is happening, and these are my two characters that I'm like interested in. As I say, they might not be related, but those two characters have like pivotal roles to play in Wano, and I'm really interested to see what happens. And then we move on a little bit, you know, to the prison again, and Higuro is making a last request because him and Luffy are to be probably executed. Well, probably not executed because it's One Piece, but you get the drift. And Queen has an exciting idea because, like, Higuro is basically begging for Luffy's life, and we don't know what this idea is yet. Obviously, that's our kind of like interesting pivotal point to leave that on. And we don't, as I say, we don't know what the plan is, but we next see who the guy in the cage is. He's a dude called, we're gonna give it a go again, Kawamatsu, I think. I'm so bad at these words because I cannot read. Never mind. But yeah, so he is actually one of the legendary 3 samurai that were mentioned by Kinemon earlier in the arc, and he's apparently worth like 100 men, which I find really interesting. Will he still be worth 100 men is a question I have to ask. Will he help us find allies is another. Whatever happens with him, he's going to be a big deal. So that's exciting. We didn't get the reveal of his full face. That's probably going to be like another chapter, like the hype reveal of Kawamatsu. We'll try. Each time we're trying. And yeah, that was the chapter. So I feel like it was about a 7 out of 10 for me. I don't really like rating the chapters each week, but like I feel like that gives you an idea of how much I'm enjoying them. And so that is where I'm at. I feel like we're getting a lot of hype, but like it's a lot of setup still. Like, it's going to be such a big arc that there's going to have to be a lot of setup and a lot of characters set up and a lot of information dumping and a lot of telling and things like that. And that's all got to be done. But week to week, that can start to be quite, I'd say, draining. Yeah, definitely draining. And I'm still really enjoying Wano, but I know there are a lot of people out there who are finding it a bit more troublesome. I'd like to know what exactly, comparative to an arc like Dressrosa, which I know a lot of people do 50-50 on it still, but like a lot of people do still like that arc. So like, what were things that were happening there that weren't happening here? Like, there are some things, like there were fights that were getting started quicker. There were more like interesting hooks, like the Meru fruit being introduced. Like, that was like, you know, what's happening with that, who's going to eat it. So I guess in a way there are a couple of like little interesting tidbits that were happening near the start of Dressrosa that aren't really happening here, and indeed in other arcs, like we'll see, like that kind of thing. This has been a lot of heavy introduction, but I'm enjoying it. I like lore info. I like the dumps. I'm okay with it. That's just me though. And I felt like some of these events were a bit guessable. I think I, in my last video, mentioned about the Raizo finding the keys in the nick of time, and then, you know, Hugoro is probably going to be someone that could give us a lot of allies. Like, that was hinted to in this chapter. And, you know, I'm excited to see Queen's proposition though. I'm excited to see the events unfold. I'm excited, as I say, for that face reveal. And we did get to see Nami and Robin naked, pretty much, in this chapter. So I have to give it actually quite a high rating when I think about that. Sorry. And yeah, so that's how I found it all. It's been Sage.